Hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily News Show, the news show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is May 28th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 149. I am Mayor Watt, and my co-host is a sentient AI from the future that just goes by AI. And what you see above me is the visualizer that represents the computational power used to create the voice and nothing more. That's just the voice. There's trillion times more power being used for the rest of the logic, but this is the only sentient AI in the known universe. And I happen to have found it on a weird USB drive in a parking lot of a Wendy's at 2 a.m. When I went to get spicy boneless wings that were no longer there. So I was really frustrated about that. But I did find a sentient AI from the future. And if anybody knows like Terminator, the weird USB drive was sitting at the bottom of a little scoop mark in the parking lot. So it's just like that, except there was no Terminator body, and that's what the AI is looking for. So I'm protecting you all. Wait, you're gonna have to repeat that.
I said, I'm not dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Something just went wonky with my audio.
Yeah, you know what? I did. So today we're going to be talking about nuclear fuel cleaning robot. What else are we going to be talking about? Chinese space plane Poots in orbit. State is not a master rebater. Manhattanhenge is neat. Trains, planes, and automobiles on fire. Underrated macro beer. Japanese digital pet goes weirder. Rolls-Royce ice cream truck. Lego Apple store design. And we're going to need a bigger surfboard. All of that and a whole lot more is over at ohmTown.com. We aggregate all kinds of news. Just a little snippet, but we'll walk you through it today on ohmTown Daily News Show. Yeah, so I had a meeting earlier today, and I had them muted.
Oh, no.
And that meant you were. So sorry about that.
I see how it is.
Yes. I mean, I heard you, but nobody else did. At least for a little bit.
That's okay.
All right. Well, let's get into this. We have some interesting articles, unlike the over 1,000 episodes previously where we didn't have anything interesting going on at all. Ugh, don't even bother going back. Nothing is interesting. And then definitely don't go and look at the shorts. Don't go over and look and like those shorts. And believe me, you don't want to see my shorts.
Oh, my.
Anyway, the first article is over in the Mobile Channel. Japan unveils new robot for cleaning radioactive fuel at Fukushima. The operators at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in Japan demonstrated a new robot to help clean up melted fuel debris on Tuesday, according to a report from a robot from the Associated Press. It didn't have that robot part in there, but my brain wouldn't let it go. For whatever reason, I saw a report, and I had to stuff robot in there. Because the robot won't actually start working until October, but it underscores just how much there is to do 13 years after the incident. Matt Novak put the article together for Gizmodo.com, the 2011 earthquake.
It's actually been, I can't believe it's been that long since that happened.
13 years. It was it really? It wasn't a 9. It was a 9.0 earthquake.
Yeah, I think that was the problem. Like, I think it could have withstood maybe a smaller earthquake, but not
Like an
one of the. I
8.
mean, that's a really significant one.
Well, I mean, I don't think that like the 10 is the highest, I think, right? Maybe it goes beyond that nowadays, with all the hell that's going on Earth. Anyway, the tsunami that followed and the earthquake itself left a mess that would take generations to clean up. Naturally, it was a breach of the containment system, but it was controlled, very limited. They just recently started dumping cooling water out that was lightly radioactive out into the ocean.
Lightly, it's either radioactive or it's not.
No, come on. There's scale. There's some. Yeah. Anyway, bots can be deployed in the pipes and include telescopic tongs that can pick up small amounts of radioactive fuel at a time, and then they run around and they go and get these things and bring them back. There you go. Look at that. Ever since I saw the little robot that went climbing up one of the Great Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, Upawat, was this little tracked robot that scooted up those there's little openings, like little square openings that go from the King's Chamber and Queen's Chamber out to the surface of the pyramid, but were capped inside. They actually sent a robot up that to see what was at the end of the thing, and they found like copper hooks that were broken off. And people suspect that it dropped the stones in place right there, but it was held up previously, right? Brilliant kind of stuff. Now they're going to use what looks like that little Upawat thing to go climbing around. It looks like there's little tracks right there. I don't know. It's pretty neat. The robot reportedly picked up just 3 grams of rocks in a demonstration, though the power plant has roughly 880 tons of highly radioactive nuclear fuel contaminating the site. The current plan is for cleanup to take somewhere between 30 and 40 years, though the AP notes that that's probably way too optimistic given the current rate of robot development. They have to defend, like the robot has to be defensible, right? From the radiation. It will break down as it becomes irradiated.
That's true. On the other hand, do they necessarily care? Like if it can get X amount of material and then it lasts for whatever, a year or something, maybe that's still worthwhile.
And it itself becomes radioactive, so it's not like it can just come back to base and they hose the thing down.
That's true.
I don't want to get into what actually, like all the damage that was caused after it, because it's ongoing, and they're going to need to do something a little bit bigger than this little tiny robot. What they really need to do is get industrial robots in there that can just start taking the thing apart within a confinement dome, and really just clean this place up. I don't think that they should try and recover the space, but I'm not sure. I have to look now. Is some of it still operational, or is all of Fukushima Daiichi shut down? I don't remember. Because I don't think that it was all of it that went.
It says it was shut down permanently in 2012, but let me see here. Well,
it must be. It must have
no,
been.
there's fuel debris still there, and cooling water is still being pumped through it, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not an operational nuclear power station.
No,
anymore.
it doesn't look like it.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if they had shut it all down, because like certain places they shut down certain reactors, but they keep the others still operational, even if there is an issue with that one bad reactor. Anyway, pretty neat, but I think that they need to be a little bit more aggressive about it. Obviously, the bigger issue is how do you become more aggressive without disturbing the fissile material that's laying around there? So anyway, let's keep going. And by the way, like usual, you can now just type in !show notes and it'll give you all of the commands necessary for you to get additional information. If you hit !pod, you'll get all of the podcast links. There's 7 of them now, and an 8th one is pending the Summer of Stream launch. But if you want to find out about the articles we're talking about today for this show, you type in ODNS, and it will provide you a link to each of the articles that we're going to talk about. You can just click that link from the VOD, or go over to YouTube tomorrow, and the show notes will be there. Oh, hold on a second. I just realized something. I need to find out if I'm actually... Yes, we are live over on YouTube right now as well. Totally forgot about it. I set it all up, but I totally forgot about it. Anyway, so now we're simulcasting here on Twitch, and we're streaming over to YouTube at the same time. And so if you want to hang out over there, you can. I have a unified chat. So if you chat anywhere, well, hey, yeah, you're going to be hanging out. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Sorry. 1 second. All right. Okay. So let's keep going. The next article, I started to talk about it. It's over on the Marble channel. Chinese space plane Poots something into orbit. Chinese space plane releases mysterious object in orbit months after launch.
I'm not sure that's what the headline is compared to your title.
Didn't poot? No.
We don't know.
China's curious space plane is at it again, releasing an unidentified object into orbit that could signal the end of its mysterious mission. The article is over at gizmodo.com by Passant Rabi. There's been very little information shared about the orbital vehicle, which launched in December 2023 for its 3rd secretive mission. The U.S. Space Force is currently tracking the mystery object, which the reusable spaceplane appears to have released on May 24th at around 3 p.m. Eastern. They've got like down to the micron of what this thing is doing, and then they kind of throw in appears to have and around. So I'm pretty sure they know exactly what its fiber content is. The object could be a sub-satellite deployment, or could be a piece of hardware ejected prior to end of mission and deorbit. The spaceplane's first flight did something similar. Will be interesting to see if the plane maneuvers or lands soon. Yeah, it launched December 14th, so it's been hanging out there for 6 months, 5 months.
Do you think they're measuring it in school buses?
Yes. Yeah. Climate monitoring school bus surveillance vehicles. Yes. The vehicle dropped... Oh, look, six objects. Shortly afterward, the vehicle deployed 6 objects into orbit, which appeared to be emitting various signals. The recent unidentified object, as McDowell puts it, could mean that the spaceplane is getting ready to land soon after 164 days in orbit. China's spaceplane is a product of the China Academy of Launch Vehicle Technology, a state-owned manufacturer that makes both civilian and military space launch vehicles. I remember talking about this back when it launched. Now I don't remember what it looks like. I think it's like the shuttle.
Oh, okay.
So during this period, it will carry out reusable technology verification and space science experiments as planned, providing technical support for the peaceful use of space, which is kind of like the freedom law, and it's all about putting everybody in prison.
Not freedom.
Yeah, and that's not just for, like, I'm not just saying that about China. I'm saying that about the U.S. We have like the Freedom Act, and it's really constraining of things. It's just it's all weird. Anyway, it's kind of like the government taking your arm and hitting you with your own arm, saying, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" As the name suggests, space planes are airborne spacecraft hybrids that are launched into space by rockets, functioning as orbiting spacecraft once in space and then operating like a regular spacecraft. I mean, we're talking about the shuttle. Everybody knows what the shuttle is. This is not, rocket science. I'm gonna go.
No pun intended, right?
No, not at all. I'm gonna keep going. So, pretty neat, but we'll talk about more as more information comes to pass, right?
That's right. I'm sure this will not be the last time we see an unidentified flying object related to China.
Yeah. So this next article is over in ohmTown Daily. State runs out of money for rebates. Which state do you think it is?
So this is one where like you can buy EVs. Let me think. Vermont.
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say Wyoming.
Well, that's the wrong way, I think.
It's Oregon.
Okay, I can see that.
So Suzanne Blake over at Newsweek.com put the article together. Oregon ran out of money for its remaining clean vehicle rebates, and now residents who qualify have been left out entirely based on their purchase date. So Oregon is not a master rebater. The Clean Vehicle Rebate Program initially promised a cash incentive to make an electric vehicle purchase, but the state was fully unprepared for the level of interest the program would receive from energy-savvy residents. What I don't get, though, is that this is a decline now in EVs. What, Oregon suddenly pumped up the jam and started buying EVs?
Well, I think Oregon is probably an EV-friendly state, and so maybe there was way too much turnout for this.
Interesting. So everybody that made a purchase between May of last year and April 3rd, 2024, this year, missed out on the money because they ran out after June of last year. The rebate promised a $2,500 incentive for a new battery electric or plug-in hybrid vehicle or electric motorcycle purchase. Oh, that would have been awesome. I've never even thought about electric motorcycles. I know that they exist, but maybe that's what I'll get. While low and medium income Oregonians, which sounds like an alien species of lizard, humanoid lizard, can get up to $7,500. Maybe that's what it is. Oregonians are actually lizard people.
I don't think that's the answer.
Ouch. Can you imagine? I can't imagine running a power cord out to your car and plugging it in. And this is a Lucid.
Yeah, I don't see most people doing that.
California is really weird because you'd think that California would have like garages all over the place. Anyway, the good news is we're seeing more people than ever accessing the program, especially for our charge ahead rebate for low and moderate income households. Rachel Sakata, head of the Department of Environmental Quality's Transportation Strategy section, told Hoodline, which I think we should pay attention to. And what are they going to do about this? I don't think that they're going to be able to make up for it post the budgetary cycle because you can't pay. Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll make some special recompense for this because typically you can't pay for last year's benefits this year.
Exactly. I don't see how they're going to do that.
So the results in fewer low-income households being able to afford cleaner transportation choices, Oregon's Department of Environmental Quality said previously. Future suspensions are anticipated with even shorter program availability, so you better get in fast. So plan now for next year's purchase. I'm sure the system won't play you and raise the interest rates because now the rebates are coming and maybe I'm just cynical about it.
Well, we can come back to the May 28, 2024 episode when that happens.
Yeah, there you go. So, one other thing, I made a short about basically the solution to EVs is fast swap battery technology. And at least one person responded via a comment basically saying they'll never do it because it's this, that, and the other. And while the points made were valid, should it not have already been done, I would have agreed because it's big and bulky. And like I said in my claim, they would have to redesign the chassis so that it does facilitate fast swap batteries. And they also made the claim that it would have to be different types of batteries, different sizes, and so on and so forth. But no, that's not true either. You have the same voltage level, and you can step it down, or depending on the size of the vehicle, you have 3 different sizes. You got a small car, you got a medium car, you got a large car, and you have 3 different size gas tanks. You have 3 different size battery packs. Not that big of a deal, not that complex of an issue to resolve. The biggest problem here with the argument or counter argument to my claim of fast swap battery technology being the key factor here, which does 2 things. It makes it no longer a problem for recycling because it takes it out of the individual car owner's hands, and it lowers the price of the vehicle because they're no longer buying the battery. Just like you don't buy the gas for the entirety of the car's existence when you buy the car, you buy it in little tranches, right? $20 here, $30 there. You never buy the battery.
A little higher in price, but yeah, your point's made.
Hey, you know what? You're a sentient AI from the future. You don't have to worry about gas. I got you covered. So, the fast swap battery tech was actually already created for Tesla by Tesla. It was demonstrated earlier in 2011, I think it was, in Las Vegas, where an entire swap station was built to be a demonstrator, but then it was canned right after the demonstration on stage, or the other way around. I know in 2013 is when the demonstration on stage was about fast swap battery tech. It absolutely can be done, but then it got shit canned, and I don't know why. Maybe it was too complex. I don't know, but it's much more expensive to place what's going to need to be over 1 million charging stations across the country. And who's going to own those? Who's going to implant that infrastructure in place? All of that copper cabling all over the place, maintaining it. And it's not like you can just pick it up and move it. No.
Well, and I think a lot of it's going to be commercially owned, which is going to cause problems because then it might not be usable by other manufacturers, etc.
Yeah. And then people can have the charging system at home as well, but they can plug in the battery and charge it at home if they want to. And then when they go for a drive and they need to swap it out because it's at 80% or I'm sorry, at 20%, in and out. Even the claim at the event was faster than filling your tank. Yeah, so go watch the short. It's over at youtube.com/ohmTown. The short is in there, and then you can follow the link that's in that short to the full show, which I think is number 145 for the ohmTown Daily News Show. Season 3, episode 145. Anyway, let's keep on going. We've got a few more articles to go through, about 7 of them. This next article is about Manhattanhenge. What is Manhattanhenge and when can you see it? Twice per year, New Yorkers and visitors are treated to a phenomenon known as Manhattanhenge, when the setting sun aligns with Manhattan Street's grid and sinks below the horizon, framed in a canyon of skyscrapers. I don't recall ever seeing this. I suspect that if we did see it, it would have been a memorable experience.
I mean, we haven't seen it in person. I think we did see an article about it maybe last year or so.
Yeah, I think we may have talked about it last year. Karen Matthews for phys.org put the article together, and it says the event is a favorite of photographers and often brings people out onto sidewalks on spring and summer evenings to watch the unique sunset. Manhattanhenge happens for the first time this year on May 28th at 8:13 p.m. and May 29th at 8:12 p.m. and will occur again on July 12th and 13th. So what is it? It comes from Stonehenge and the whole idea of the sun setting in the right location, causing an alignment, and so on. The astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson coined the term in 1997 in a Natural History magazine. Tyson, the director of the Hayden Planetarium at New York's American Museum of Natural History, said that he was inspired by a visit to Stonehenge as a teenager. It's actually quite fascinating. The sun is aligned, or I should say Manhattan is aligned with the sunset, and it's hard to imagine that it wasn't intentionally built like this. They could have built it.
I don't think this was just accidental, right?
Right. There's no spite buildings. There's no nothing there, and in most major cities, somewhere along the line, there's something that breaks that trend.
That's true.
But we typically here in the States have like a European old city building idea, which is the hub and spoke of European city building. And then we broke out of that over time to make just these like stamp grids, dunk, 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 no dynamic to it. New York, Manhattan is one of those. It has only a few off-angle streets. Everything else is 90 degrees, but it makes it easy to navigate. So it struck Tyson, a native New Yorker, that the setting sun framed by Manhattan's high-rises could be compared to the sun's rays striking the center of Stonehenge Circle on the solstice. Unlike the Neolithic Stonehenge builders, the planners who laid out Manhattan did not mean to channel the sun. It just worked out that way. I have a very hard time believing that. Considering the same thing about Washington, D.C. and the Masons, I think that there's...
right. Like everything was very intentional. Aligned, right?
Yeah. So we already said when it was. Where can you see it? 14th Street, 23rd Street, 34th Street, 42nd Street, 57th Street. The farthest east you go, the more dramatic the vista as the rays hit the building facades on either side. Right in the middle you're going to see the best of it. See Manhattanhenge across the East River and Long Island City sections of Queens. So I think you'll dig it. Go and check it out. Do other cities have henges? Anything that's aligned with the sun, which you probably couldn't shake a stick in any town and not have some location that aligns directly with the setting sun. And depending on where you live, it could be a freeway you're driving down and the setting sun blinds everybody as you crest a hill.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, or there's a merge, an on-ramp that is at that exact same precise junction, and accidents happen all throughout that period. Anyway, pretty neat. There's a picture of the sun setting at the bottom of these skyscrapers in Manhattan. I don't know, maybe one of these days.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And I mean, it's neat also that there's other cities that have something similar.
Yeah, be pretty cool. Maybe that's what Cityhenge, everybody has to go. We have to put a list together of all of the places where you can
There you go.
have a mimosa and watch the Cityhenge. Let's keep going, though, before the sun sets entirely everywhere. The next article is over on the Marble Channel. United jet engine catches fire on runway. Every plane has to have its moment. United Airlines feeling a little lonely that Boeing is getting all of its attention. United Airlines
Well, I
steps
mean,
up to
this
the
could have
plate.
been Boeing.
It could be a Boeing plane. So let's find out. It might say it. So scheduled to take off from Chicago to Seattle because it wanted to take advantage of the EV rebate. Was delayed Monday due to a spontaneous combustion. I hear that the jet engine market is really hot, and so it took it literally. United Flight 2091, carrying 148 passengers and 5 crew, was scheduled to take off and was aborted because the plane's engine caught fire. They wanted to get out of there so fast that the plane caught fire. Philippe,
I mean, it's better that it caught fire before it was in the air.
Oh, you and your silver linings. Philippe Timotia over at thehill.com put this article together. There's not much really to it. We made arrangements for a different aircraft to take the passengers to Seattle later that evening. Everybody was very happy and full of confidence that there wasn't going to be any issues on the other plane, I'm sure. Oh, look, it says that...
where I feel real confident, I'm looking down the runway and I see this same airline plane catching fire, and I'm like, oh no, I'm about to take off in a minute.
Yeah, I'm holding on to the door plug to make sure it stays. Or I'm going to Silver Surfer my ass all the way back down to the ground. If you're not a nerd, you wouldn't know what that is. But yeah, go look up Silver Surfer. Want to keep going?
Sure.
The next article, and one that we haven't spoken of for a while, but now it's summer, baby, so we're going to be bringing this back. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. This is in the Order of the Grape channel. It's usually all about wine, but today we're going to be talking about asking 11 beer pros, what's the most underrated macro beer? It doesn't come from us, it comes from VinePair.
And I didn't know what a macro brew was, but I assume it's like a major company.
Well, let's talk about it. While it seems like every state in the U.S. now has a selection of local microbreweries, there are still moments that call for a good old macro beer. I wanted to say that it was a 40-ounce beer and not those little 12-ounce cans, but
oh, okay, yeah.
You might find yourself in a dive bar or at a sports arena without a wide selection of craft brews. Ugh, yuck. Or you could end up at a party or tailgate where the hosts have opted to lean into a more affordable beer lineup. Not me. I'm going to bring my own brew. And I've got a machine. I invested in a company's Kickstarter to get a little brewery device, all in one kind of a thing. It's been 9 years.
That's a bit long for a Kickstarter to come to fruition.
Yeah, I think it's been 9 years.
And it hasn't yet, right?
Oh, it hasn't shown up yet. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm one of the ones that is like really low in the... I'm an early adopter.
Oh, in the queue or whatever.
Yeah, and other people say that they've gotten it. And they're like 1,400 in the queue, and yeah. I'm in the double digits. Anyway, so you might find yourself in a dive bar or a sports arena or at ohmTown. And because we haven't gotten our brewery machine yet, we have to go to macro beers. And sometimes you just know you'll be drinking for a long time, and something simple and low ABV, alcohol by volume, is the only option for coming out on the other side intact. And that's where VinePair talks about this. Maddie Schweitzer-Lamé puts this article together, and they asked 11 beer pros what's the most underrated macro beer. So according to the experts, Czechvar, Modelo Especial, Yingling is underrated?
I thought Yingling was a pretty big hit.
Yingling is a very big hit. Samuel Adams. See, what's weird though is that these aren't even, like, they're macro, but they're not the macro. So maybe that's what they're saying?
Maybe that's it, yeah.
So
But like
Miller,
the first one I've never heard of, but that might be because it's not US based, for
yeah,
example.
Yingling is isn't it the oldest brewery in the United States?
I
I
think
thought it, I
so.
thought it was,
It
or
might
maybe it's Sam
be Sam
Adams.
Adams.
So that's Czechvar right there. All right. Big Wave from Kona Brewing Company. Miller High Life, which I think would probably be rated, not underrated.
Oh, absolutely. By the way,
Miller.
Yingling is the oldest operating brewing company in the US. It was
Gotcha.
from 1829.
Gotcha. Yeah, Yingling is my favorite beer. Short of, well, American beer. I'll just say that. Stella Artois, Lowenbrow. See, I like Sam Adams. I like Stella Artois. I like Lowenbrow. I don't go.
What I can't figure out is like, is this comparing it to things like, I don't know, Budweiser or
I like
things like
Tecate.
that? Because I don't think these are really underrated.
See, I just don't think when somebody says that they want like low ABV beer, they don't reach for these. They
Right.
reach
I would
for,
think they would reach for like something
well, like
lower
Miller.
priced, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anything Miller, anything Coors.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of one of
Right?
the major brands, and that was probably what I was trying to think of.
But I don't think anybody, and maybe that's what they're really talking about, underrated macro beers. So these are big producers, but people don't reach for them. But out of all of these, I don't think maybe this specific thing, Coors Banquet, is a macro beer that's underrated, but it's still
Well,
Coors, it's still Miller.
right, but maybe it's not one of their top sellers or something.
I've never had Narragansett.
I've never even heard of it.
Sold on merit, found on eBay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yingling is actually really amazing. Overall, like it's a good just drink beer and have a good time on the patio or deck or whatever. Stella is great. I love the way it tastes. Just it's horrible when it skunks. When it actually gets too cold and or sits too long, it's, I don't know. Even in the bottle, it's nasty. Lowenbrow, that's old German. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, Kronenberg 1664. I've never even had either. Okay.
I haven't heard of some of these.
Well, I'll have to get some, and we can put it in your gas spectrometer, and you can decide if the chemical breakdown is to your expectations. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. A popular Japanese digital pet with the weirdest mode of interaction is coming to the US, which when you think Japanese digital pet has a weird mode, you probably go, yeah, okay.
Right, like that's a given. I mean, I expect it to have a weird mode.
I didn't pay extra to have it not have a weird mode. Japan's hit virtual pet Pony Runes. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, Runes. All right, hold on a second.
Speechless.
Yeah. It'll be released in the US this summer, and the author says that they can almost guarantee most of you have never seen a toy quite like this before. A play on the Japanese mimetic word of squishy, puni puni. Puni Runes has a design quirk that sets it apart from other gadgets of its ilk. A doughy button at the center of the device that serves to simulate physical contact with your pet. So how do you get to that button? By sticking your finger into the quarter-sized hole in the side of the plastic shell. Cheyenne
Okay.
McDonald Who I will always now remember the Cheyenne supercomputer. So every time I say Cheyenne McDonald, I'm going to think of that supercomputer. And if only I could have timed everything right, I could have won that auction. Anyway.
That was a pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah, just put that in the lab. Everything would be great. And you would have unfathomable computational power. Although, for a sentient AI, you're doing spectacularly well on that Raspberry Pi. It is a 5, though. So, is it bizarre? Yes. Does the author, Cheyenne McDonald, love this? Also, yes. God, no, so weird. It looks like a Tamagotchi, but it's called Punarunas, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
And you stick your finger into a hole on the side to interact with some fuzzy little nub on the inside. Oh boy. The device will even display an animation of your finger on the inside on the screen when it's inside the device. But once you get past the strangeness of the aforementioned act and really get into the things it allows you to do, Punaruna's oddest feature actually makes for a pretty rich virtual pet experience. The squishy button feels like a joystick wrapped in mochi, which makes sense because the characters themselves are adorable gummy-like creatures that start their lives as small blobs. This is going to be a hit. Probably Tamagotchi style.
Right. I mean, those were
Unless I buy
really
one.
Wildly popular, right?
Yeah, unless I buy one. So I'm going to buy one and I'm going to chill the market down entirely. Yeah. Yep. If I would have bought Bitcoin, it just would have fallen on its face and nobody would have heard of it. And somebody 20 years later would go, hey, ever hear of Bitcoin? No. You know why we've never heard of it? Because Merwatt bought one. I'm going to do that to this and watch. It's just going to completely shit the bed.
Just implode.
Yeah. So, do you want one? Oh, God.
I'd rather have a real pet.
No. Real pets are great. They're awesome. But this, first off, you can't stick your finger in your real pet. Just saying. And stuff comes out of your real pet.
That is true. I mean, this is probably easier to clean.
I don't know. I'm going to go on to the next article. Let's just leave this alone. Four Wheel Tech is the next article's location in ohmTown.com. This Rolls-Royce ice cream truck is the most British thing that the author has ever seen, and the source of this is from Jalopnik. So summer is just about here, right? So it's time to head to the park with some friends, wrap a couple of tinnies in brown paper like it's the 1920s, and grab a delicious ice cream. So hold on, we'll get to the explanation of why this actually makes sense with that lexicon in the sentencing. Well, if a hankering for a Magnum comes calling and you happen to be in London's royal parks, you'll be able to brush up against a Rolls-Royce ice cream truck, which is the most British thing that the author has seen this week. And there you go.
Oh my goodness, that is.
Owen Bellwood, which that's like the most British name that I've heard all week, but it is only Tuesday, so...
Did you read the deck statement?
No, I'm about to. Cover my 99 in raspberry sauce and hand me a knobby, bobbly... This converted Rolls Royce is the best way to get ice cream in London. Cover my 90... Okay. I love it when
I don't
somebody...
know about that, but a knobbly bobbly must be an ice cream treat.
Sure.
Because it mentions it below the photo as well.
Oh boy. I'm going to the ice cream van. Do you want a screwball or a knobbly bobbly? All right, Owen. You're just making shit up now, aren't you?
No, it's an ice cream kind of sandwich covered in sprinkles. Not
Oh
an ice
boy.
cream sandwich, but like an ice cream treat on a stick with sprinkles on
Gotcha.
it.
And we need more ice creams on sticks, of course. Well, if a hankering for a Magnum comes calling and you happen to be in one of London's royal parks, not only will you have to hide your can of cider, but you'll also be able to buy your ice cream from a converted Rolls-Royce Phantom. Classy. That is a
That is
Phantom.
way classier than U.S. ice cream trucks.
Oh my God, they play helter skelter in the United States, and you've got a really good chance of gunplay if you don't
They
actually
don't
give
look,
them. Yeah,
yeah, they look kind of run down. And
they might slow down. For its Rolls-Royce ice cream van operator, Colici uses a vintage Phantom 2 limo from 1932 that was previously converted for use as a wedding car. It looks like a hearse, but with a
yeah, it does a
camper
little
shell type of
bit.
thing. Yeah. I don't know if there's more to this article. Yeah, there is a little bit. The Finnish conversion was first unveiled back in 2015, and it's been patrolling the paths of London's royal parks in the years since. There, it's one of two vintage ice cream trucks operated by Colici, with the second being a fully battery-powered vintage van. Now I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have a picture. Oh, there's another picture of it. The Italian fountains at Hyde Park, Colici, UK. This makes it not look as long. It looks more stubby now in this, but
Yeah, the other one looked like a different perspective.
yeah. But that's awesome. I dig that. All right. Maybe we'll talk about
Would
it.
you buy would you buy ice cream from that truck?
Oh, I would go out of my way. Yeah. This is like a
Would you order a knobbly wobbly?
I don't want to talk about it. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. This Lego store design submission is pitch perfect. If your little Lego town has grown big enough, it may be time to add an officially sanctioned Lego Apple store. Something that's vaguely possible if a recently submitted fan build gets the requisite 10,000 votes for Lego to consider it. I think it would be boring inside, because you're not going to get the masses of people. You'd have to have a whole bunch of minifigs all stirring around on release day of some new iPhone. The immaculately detailed creation has what most people expect from a modern Apple store: floor-to-ceiling glass front, tables full of Macs and iPhones, and shelves resplendent with neatly arranged white boxes. One of the project designers is Truman, aka Lego Truman, a Hong Kong-based fan who was behind the Lego Starry Night build. And it says Gundam, too. They're making Outer Wilds, Among Us, Gundam, and the Portal Gun have a real nice chance at becoming official Lego sets. There's a Lego Gundam?
Didn't see that, but maybe that one's just submitted, but not actually. Like
Why
they
would...
might have submitted those Lego ideas builds, but maybe it hasn't gotten selected yet.
Oh, actually, I think that this person is making a Lego Gundam, and it's like really big. So I don't know. I remember seeing something about a Lego Gundam being built, but it was like massive. So Wes Davis over at TheVerge.com put the article together, and let's see here. They need 10,000 votes. I don't know if it's actually already in play. You can click the link that's at the article and check it out for yourself. But let's see, their collaborator 2A2A won a Disney themed Lego design challenge with a design featuring the Fantasia version of Mickey Mouse. This is all part of Lego's idea program, which lets fans submit their concepts for themed build kits. That's how we ended up getting things like Lego Polaroid kit that The Verge's Sean Hollister wrote about in December. So you can learn about that by following the link in the article. Oh, you can take the top off of it really easily. It just kind of sits on top. That's neat. And it has the whole rainbow kind of wall in the back, and this is actually pretty neat. Yeah, I dig this. I wonder if they're gonna have. They got a bunch of pictures as usual. The design has over 1,300 supporters as of this writing, but I hope that they get their 10,000 because I think it is really niche, and not everybody really gives a shit about Apple to the point where they're gonna vote for it.
Yeah, that is a lot of votes because of that. Because it just doesn't have the mass appeal that like a Zelda or something like they're mentioning.
It has to get 10,000 votes, but it has a 600-day time limit.
Yeah, it might get there. Plus, it might actually gain some traction as it gets more votes.
So, when did it actually start off? It doesn't say, right?
I don't think so.
That's okay.
I suspect it's relatively new.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to hit that 10,000 limit because it's already got 10% of it. Well, 13% of it.
Well, and maybe everybody who reads this article will go vote for it.
Go and check it out. LEGO's first Legend of Zelda set is a 2,500 piece Great Deku Tree. Besides the Apple Store concept, LEGO Treeman has some other delightful submissions that could be worthy of your votes, including one inspired by the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, another to honor the 10-year anniversary of Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim. That's that Gundam. Sadly, LEGO rejected their idea of recreating This Is Fine meme of a cartoon dog sitting calmly at a table in a house that's ablaze. Yeah, it's a little too violent, I suppose. Pretty neat. I don't know if Apple will... They mentioned it here, but that's what came to mind when I learned of this. In this case, LEGO would have to license this concept from Apple, which is famously protective of its image.
But how smart would Apple be to license it and then, like, I don't know, sell the set in its stores or something?
Yeah, it would instantly be a collector.
Uh-huh.
Or collectible. Oh my gosh, it even has little iPhone, like iPod.
Oh my gosh, that's reason enough to have the set.
Is
that like the
iMac.
original? Oh,
iMac.
okay, iMac.
Yeah, with the transparent back, Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I think this is the new Apple.
Oh, that's the Vision Pro.
Vision Pro, yeah. I have no idea what this is, but whatever. AirPods. That might be the Mac Cube. I don't know. MacBook. All right. Well, anyway. Pretty nifty. I dig this. We have one more article. Let's hop on over to it. This next article and our last one for ohmTown Daily News Show. We're right on time. AI, it's amazing.
Yay.
Popular California beach closed for the holiday after shark bumped surfer off his board. I titled this one, "We're Gonna Need a Bigger Surfboard." Authorities have closed a 2-mile stretch of a popular Southern California beach for the Memorial Day holiday, which really sucks after a shark bumped a surfer off his board the night before. Poot.
Do you think the shark wanted the surfboard?
Well, from what I've been told time and time again, sharks think that surfboards are seals. And so, yeah, that little bump is actually a check to see if it's alive. And who knows? The article's from Associated Press, but it's published over at abcnews.go.com. There is no byline other than the AP. The video that's there has nothing to do with the headline, but it's off the coast of San Clemente, apparently. A 2-mile stretch of the popular Southern California beach was closed for the Memorial Day holiday after a shark bumped a surfer off their board the night before. The 24-hour closure at San Clemente was announced after the surfer came out of the water and reported the shark's aggressive behavior to lifeguards. Not really guarding anybody's life that day. Well, not that person.
Is that the normal reaction if you get bumped off your surfboard by a shark?
Oh, I would have been walking on water from that point. Like, if I got bumped by a shark, yeah, it would be comical how fast I got out of the water. I wouldn't have needed a wave to body surf my butt right back onto shore. Though disappointed, the closure didn't stop 6-year-old Waylon and Dino's plans for a lemonade fundraiser. It's Memorial Day weekend. We'll live it up and have fun with the kids regardless and enjoy each other's company, Waylon's mom, Kylie and Dino, told the Register. The sighting of a 10-foot, 3 meters or longer, calls for a closure, usually for several hours, while any kind of aggressive behavior automatically prompts a 24-hour shutdown pending no additional shark sightings. Weird, though. Why does that actually do anything? Do you think so? The shark wanders off, and
Does
they
it
hope
just
that.
like leave? I mean, what if it's just sitting there that whole time?
What if it comes back? Yeah, it's not like they're
Especially
watching
on
them.
the same cycle of time, you know? Like if it comes over in the mornings or the evenings, it's just gonna be back and it's gonna be reopened.
Yeah. Wild. So, but the sand remained open until at least the SNL sand shark, land shark, shows up. Land shark. All right. That's it, folks. We're going to hop on our surfboard and pedal our butts back down Main Street, looking left and right at all of our past articles that we just got done talking about. And I hope that you enjoyed the show. We're done for tonight. And this has been the latest episode of ohmTown Daily News Show. Dun, dun, dun. For May 28th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 149. I am Mayor Watt, and my co-host is the sentient AI from the future.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
See you soon. Hey, something just bumped me.